today's class, let us study speed control techniques for three-phase induction motor. Okay, in the previous classes, we have discussed the starters used for three-phase induction motor, where the starter is to control the starting current of three-phase induction motor. Now, similarly, how to control the speed of three-phase induction motor using different methods that we will discuss here. Okay, now let us see the topic related to the speed control of three-phase induction motor, and this is also going to be one of the important questions which will be asked in the final VTU exam. We hope you can see how many number of times the question has been appeared here. So there are different methods of controlling speed of the three-phase induction motor. Whichever the technique will be asked in the final VTU exam, the same technique we should explain for three-phase induction motor. Okay, let us see the description here. A three-phase induction motor is practically a constant speed motor like DC shunt motor, but the speed of DC shunt motor can be varied smoothly just by using simple rheostat. This maintains the speed regulation and efficiency of DC shunt motor. So already we know that DC shunt motor is characterized by constant speed. Therefore, this three-phase induction motor it is also a constant speed motor only, just like DC shunt motor. But if we want to control the speed of the DC, what is that, three-phase induction motor smoothly, then we can have the speed control smoothly. But see that when we are changing the speed, the other factors of the three-phase induction motor like power factor, efficiency, they are going to get affected. But if you take your DC shunt motor, its speed can be controlled very smoothly, which is going to give us smooth speed regulation and efficiency for DC shunt motor. But it is not same for the induction motor. Though induction motor it is a constant speed motor, whenever we are trying to control its speed smoothly, the other factors of the three-phase induction motor like performance characteristics like power factor, efficiency, they are going to get affected. Now let us see how to control the speed of three-phase induction motor using the formula here. For the three-phase induction motor, we know that N is equal to Ns into 1 minus S, where Ns is the synchronous speed and S is the slip. Okay, from this expression it can be seen that speed of the induction motor can be changed. Speed of the induction motor, it can be changed by changing the synchronous speed ns or by changing the slip s. So we can control the speed of the induction motor n by changing the synchronous speed ns or slip. Okay, similarly the torque equation of the three-phase induction motor is given by torque T is directly proportional to sc2 square r2 divided by r2 square plus sx2 whole square. Okay, no, so as the parameters like rotor resistance and E2 are changed, then to keep the torque constant for constant loading condition, motor reacts by changing its slip. Effectively, its speed changes. So here from this equation, if we change rotor standstill induced EMF E2 and rotor resistance R2, then automatically it is directly proportional to torque. So torque is getting to be changed, but see that torque should be remained constant. So to remain the torque to be constant, three-phase induction motor, what it will do? It will change the slip. So if on changing the slip, this is how the torque of the three-phase induction motor is going to be held constant. Okay, thus the speed of the induction motor can be controlled by basically two methods. So the speed of the induction motor, it can be controlled by two basic methods, that is from stator side, and second one is from rotor side. Now let us see what are the techniques for controlling the speed of the induction motor from the stator side. Okay, first from stator side, it includes following methods. First one is supply frequency control to control synchronous speed ns, called voltage by frequency control, that is V by F control. This method already I have discussed for you in the earlier previous class. Then supply voltage control method, then controlling number of stator poles to control ns, and finally adding rheostats in stator circuit. These are all the four methods where we are going to control the speeds, that too from stator side. Similarly from the rotor side there are different methods. From the rotor side, it includes following methods, that is adding external resistance in the rotor circuit. Second one is cascade control. Third one is injecting slip frequency voltage into the rotor circuit. So these three methods are controlling the speed of the induction motor, that too from the rotor side. So now in today's class we will discuss for the speed control of three-phase induction motor from the stator side. In that we will discuss for supply voltage control method, controlling speed, controlling number of stator poles to control synchronous speed ns, and finally adding rheostats in stator circuit. Because the first one, that is supply frequency control to control synchronous speed ns, called voltage to the frequency ratio control, this I have already have discussed in the previous class. So looking into that point of view, now we will switch on to switch, what is that, the remaining three methods, that is supply voltage control method, controlling stator number of stator poles, and finally adding rheostats in stator circuit. So now first we will discuss for supply voltage control method. This already have discussed for V by F control in the earlier class. Then we will move to the supply voltage control method. So here this is the method where we are going to control the speed of the induction motor from the stator side by applying varied what is that, variable supply voltage control. So now we can see the description for this. We know that torque equation of the three-phase induction motor is given by torque T directly proportional to S E2 square R2 divided by R2 square plus SX2 whole square. Okay. So now this E2 is the rotor standstill voltage or the EMF at standstill condition depending upon the supply voltage. So this E2 is what? This is during standstill condition, where E2 is the rotor induced EMF at standstill condition. It depends upon the supply voltage during standstill condition. Therefore, we can say that E2 is directly proportional to V at standstill condition. Okay. Also for low slip region. Low slip region means when induction motor is in the stable zone where slip is low. Okay, which is operating region or the stable region of the three-phase induction motor. In this case, this torque equation, S into X2 whole square. This is very small in low slip region. Because of this is very small in comparison with the rotor resistance, that is R2, and hence this can be neglected. So therefore the equation modifies during low slip region, and that too during standstill condition. E2 becomes directly proportional to the supply voltage V. So I can write now this equation as torque T is directly proportional to S as it is, E2 changes to V square, R2 as it is, R2 square as it is. Therefore this S into X2 square, this is neglected. It is neglected because it is very smaller than the rotor resistance R2. Therefore the equation modifies to this way. Then once again, if you look at this expression, rotor resistance is constant, so then equation of the torque changes to torque T directly proportional to S V2 square because R2 is constant. So now you can see here, now if supply voltage V is reduced, so if supply voltage V is reduced, then automatically torque is going to be reduced. Okay, so now if supply voltage is reduced below rated value, as per the above equation, torque produced also decreases. But this should not happen because torque should always remain constant. So for making the torque to remain constant, slip is going to be increased. Okay, but to supply the same load, it is necessary to develop same torque, hence value of the slip increases. Yes or no? To maintain the torque to be constant, torque slip is going to be increased, because slip increases means this torque is going to remain constant. But we know that slip is inversely proportional to the speed. If slip increases, then speed decreases. Okay, then speed decreases. So slip increases to maintain the torque to be constant, means motor reacts by running at lower speed. So therefore motor will run at a lower speed because of decrease in the supply voltage. So motor produces the required load torque at lower speed. So here motor, it is going to run by supplying appropriate required load torque, but at reduced speed, lower speed. Okay, then the speed torque characteristics for the motor using supply voltage control is as shown in the figure 5.5.3. So this is the figure 5.5.3 representing speed torque curves for motor with voltage control, where y-axis indicates speed and x-axis indicates torque. For normal voltage, this is the speed curve with respect to the torque, and this is for the second curve, this is with the reduced voltage. So on applying the reduced voltage, so therefore speed has been reduced. Okay, so this is the speed torque characteristics. Okay, but in this method, due to reduction in the voltage, current drawn by the motor increase. So whenever we apply reduced voltage, so in order to produce normal appropriate torque, what is motor is going to do? Motor is going to draw extra current. Okay, so what this extra current drawn, it is going to cause, once again it is going to cause copper losses, I square R losses. Because of that, heating is going to take place. Okay, large change in the voltage for small change in speed is required. So also here, in order to change the speed to small value, huge amount of voltage has to be changed. So this is one of the biggest disadvantage of this method. Okay, then due to increased current, the motor may be get overheated because of extra current, whatever it is going to drop because of reduced voltage. It is going to cause more overheating because of I square or copper losses. Okay, additional voltage changing equipment is necessary. So here, in order to change the voltage, we want extra additional voltage changing equipment. Hence this method is rarely used in practice. So because of all these disadvantages, the disadvantages like reduced voltage, because of that it is going to draw extra current, because of that heating is going to take place, and to change the voltage, we want extra voltage changing equipment, and also if I want to get small change in the speed value, then huge amount of the voltage we have to change. So all these are the associated drawbacks because for this method. Because of all these drawbacks, we are going to use very rarely. Okay, hence this method is rarely used in this practice. Where we can use such kind of the speed controlling method, you can see here. Motors driving fan type of loads use this method of speed control. So here, whichever the motors which are going to drive the loads as fan, so there such motors they are going to use this method of controlling the speed. Due to the reduced voltage E2, that is rotor induced voltage during standstill condition, this is going to be decreased. Okay, if E2 decreases, then automatically torque, maximum torque is also going to be decreased. So all these are the associated drawbacks. So this is all about supply voltage control method to control the speed of the induction motor from stator side. Okay, and the second next method and the second next method is controlling number of poles. So here we can also control the speed of the induction motor, because we know that speed of the induction motor is given by ns is equal to 120 f by p. So in order to control the speed of the induction motor, what is that? N is equal to speed of the induction motor, n is equal to ns into 1 minus s. Yes or no? This is the equation. So I can control the speed of the induction motor n by changing synchronous speed. So in order to control this synchronous speed, the basic well-known equation is 120 f by p. So therefore, if we change the number of stator poles, then we can change the speed. So if we change the synchronous speed, then we can change the speed of the induction motor. This is how it is correlated here. Okay. So now let us see the next method, that is controlling number of poles. This method is also called pole changing method of controlling the speed. In this method, it is possible to have 1, 2 or 4 speed in steps. So this method uses 1 or 2 or 4 speeds, that too in steps, by changing the number of stator poles. So here we are changing the number of stator poles. Accordingly, we are going to get different speeds. Okay, that too in steps. Continuous smooth speed control is not possible by this method. So here we are going to get the speed in steps, but smooth speed control is not possible. Okay, the stator poles can be changed by the following methods. So now, how to change the stator poles in order to achieve the different synchronous speed ns? So this is possible by first one, that is the consequent pole method. Second one is multiple stator winding method, and third one is amplitude modulation method. So in the exam, if they ask the question like explain the speed control of three-phase induction motor by pole changing method, means what you can do is you can explain for consequent pole method and multiple stator winding method. You can explain for these two. You can the third one you can leave it as your choice. Okay, now let us study for consequent pole method. So the consequent pole method here, how to change the stator pole. So this is stator pole, south pole, north pole, south pole, north pole, south pole, north pole, south pole, north pole, and these are the stator windings. Okay, so now this is the configuration for 8 pole winding. So this gives us 8 poles, and here you are having 3 terminals, 1, 2 and 3. So 1, 2 and 3. So here you are given us 3 terminals. Okay, in this method, in this method, connections of the stator winding are changed with the help of simple switching. So here, how to change the stator winding connections? It can be changed with the help of simple switching equipment. Okay, and due to this, number of stator poles get changed in the ratio of 2:1. So here, this is the configuration in which we can change the stator poles in the ratio of 2:1. Hence, either of the two synchronous speeds can be selected. So with the help of this configuration, we are going to get two synchronous speeds, that is 750 rpm and 1500 rpm. Now this is for 8 pole configuration. So how to get this 8 pole configuration? What should be the circuit diagram? Let us see now. Consider the pole formation due to single phase of 3-phase winding. So this is the single phase of 3-phase winding, stator winding, as shown in figure 5.4. 5.4. So this is the single phase winding, either it is for R phase, Y phase or B phase, belonging to the 3-phase winding, that of the stator. There are 3 tapping points to the stator winding. So here there are 3 tappings, 1, 2 and 3. The 2 tappings, they will be connected to the power supply, and the third one is kept open. Okay, the supply is given to 2 of them. Supply is given to 2 of the tappings, and the third is kept open, It can be seen that current in all the parts of the stator coils is flowing in one direction only. So here in this case, the current that is flowing in the south pole is upward direction, the current that is flowing in the north pole is in downward direction. So now, because of this, you can see that current is flowing in only one single direction. Because of this, here we are going to get 8 different poles. 8 means 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So with this configuration, we are going to get 8 poles. Okay. Due to this, 8 poles get formed as shown in figure 5.5.4a. So synchronous speed possible with this arrangement with 50 hertz frequency is ns equal to ns equal to 750 rpm. So we know that the basic well-known equation is ns is equal to 120 f by p. So if this configuration gives number of poles p equal to 8 with frequency f equal to 50 hertz, then synchronous speed what we are attaining with this pole configuration is 750 rpm. So this is the one synchronous speed what we are going to achieve for 8 poles. Okay. If now the two terminals of its supply was given earlier are joined together and supply is given to the between this common point and the open third terminal, the poles are formed as shown in figure 5.5.4b. So now if we make certain modification, what is that, short these first two connected points and connect this to the phase, and this you can connect it to the neutral. With this configuration, you will be getting the next modified circuit. So the next modified circuit is this one, where you can observe that it gives us four poles. This is north pole where current direction is downwards, and this is south pole where current direction is upward. So this is one pole, this is second pole, this is first pole, that is north pole, this is second pole, that is south pole, this is third pole, that is north pole. Similarly, this is the half of the south pole on this side and the remaining half of the south pole on the other side. So altogether this will give us four poles. This will give us four poles, provided what we should do, the first configuration where the two terminals we have connected to the power supply, that is what to short it and give it to the one phase, and the terminal which was open connected to the neutral. If this is the case, then you are going to get this configuration, where in this case you will be observing, you will be having the current direction in the two poles in the same direction, and the other two on the other direction, means north pole downward direction, south pole upward direction. So because of this, here we are going to get four poles. So with four poles, what is the speed you can assume? So with frequency f equal to 50 hertz, p number of poles is equal to 4, then if you solve it, then you will be getting synchronous speed for this as 1500 rpm. So for 8 poles we have attained 750 rpm synchronous speed, and for 4 poles we have attained synchronous speed of 1500 rpm. So hence this gives us two synchronous speed values. Okay, it can be seen that the direction of the current through two coils is different, that is north pole, that is upward direction, and then the direction of the current through the remaining two means south pole. So thus upward direction is forming, say, south pole s. So current flowing through the south pole is upward direction, and downward is for north pole. It can be observed that in the case of only four poles are formed here, there are only four poles, that is north pole, south pole, north pole, south pole, half south pole on this side and the remaining half south pole on this side. This gives us totally four poles. Okay. So with four poles, so the synchronous speed possible is 1500 rpm for 50 hertz frequency. Okay, so here we have attained 1500 rpm speed of the induction motor. Okay, the series parallel arrangement of coils can produce the poles in the ratio 2:1, but the speed change is in step, and smooth speed control is not possible. So here we can uh, change the configuration in series parallel arrangement, and poles can be changed in the ratio of 2:1. We can get the speed in stepwise, but smooth speed control is not possible. This is the disadvantage. Okay, this is the disadvantage here. Similarly, the method can be used only for squirrel cage type motors, as squirrel cage rotor adjusts itself to same number of poles as stator, which is not the case in slip ring induction motor. So this method is used only for squirrel cage induction motor, where this can adjust the number of stator poles, but this cannot be applied for what is that, slip ring induction motor. This method is limited only for squirrel cage induction motor only. Pole changing method is applied only for consequent pole changing method is applied only for squirrel cage induction motor. Okay. Now, here in this case, we have seen only single stator winding. If we use two, what is that? If we use two stator windings which are separated electrically or which are isolated electrically, then the next speed controlling method using pole changing method is multiple stator winding. Multiple means instead of only one single winding, for each phase, we can use more than one single winding in the stator core. If that is the case, then it is called as multiple stator winding method. In this method, instead of one winding, two separate stator windings are placed in the stator core. The windings are placed in the stator slots only, but are electrically isolated from each other. So here there will be two separate stator coils which are placed in the stator core, and they are isolated electrically from each other. Okay, each winding is divided into coils to which pole changing with consequent poles facility is provided. So here once again the same earlier method we are using, that is consequent pole changing method only. Just to change the pole changing method, we are using what is that, switching equipment. So whatever the earlier concept we have seen, the same method will be used, but only instead of one coil there will be two coils present in the stator core. Okay, and thus giving supply to one of the two windings, and using switching arrangement, two speeds can be achieved. For if you consider only one coil out of the two, and if you apply the same earlier method, then once again here also we are going to achieve two synchronous speeds. Same is true for the other stator winding also. So if we apply the power supply for the other remaining one more stator coil using the same consequent pole method, once again there also we are going to get other two synchronous speeds. So altogether we are going to get four different speeds here. So in all, four different speeds can be obtained for one coil, for two speeds, and for the other coil two speeds. So 2 plus 2, altogether four different speeds we are going to attain. Okay, the various limitations of this method are, now let us see what are the disadvantages of multiple stator winding. First disadvantage is it can be applied only for squirrel cage induction motor. So this is the drawback. So here it can be used only for squirrel cage induction motor. Second one is smooth speed control is not possible. Only step changes in speed are possible. So here smooth speed control is not possible, but only we can change the speed in stepwise. The third disadvantage is two different stator windings are required to be wound, which increase the cost of the motor. So since here we are using different stator windings, so obviously cost of the machine is going to be increased. Then lastly, complicated from design point of view. So hence it is having two different stator windings, so design point of view is little bit complicated. So this is all about disadvantages. Now let us see the typical speed torque characteristics of pole changing induction motors as shown in figure 5.5.5. So this is figure 5.5.5 indicating speed torque characteristics for pole changing multiple stator winding pole changing method. So where this is the curve which is indicating for speed torque characteristics for four poles. For four poles, as I have told you, we are going to get a high speed, that is 1500 rpm, and for eight poles we are going to get 750 rpm. So 750 is two times of 1500. So this is for four poles, it is 1500 rpm, that is two times of ns, and for eight poles we are going to get 750 rpm, that is ns. Simply it is ns. So if you take ns as 750 for eight poles, and for four poles the speed will be double of 750, that is 1500 rpm. So because of that, here we write it as two times of ns. For double speed we will be getting for four poles, and half the speed of the double we will be getting for eight poles, that is ns. Ns is 750 and two times of ns is 750 rpm. Sorry, is two times of ns is 1500 rpm and ns is 750 rpm. So this is all about multiple stator winding. And the third method in the same pole changing method is pole amplitude modulation method. This what you can do is you can study on your own as a choice. What you can do is you can explain for these two methods. It is more than sufficient. Multiple stator winding as well as consequent what is that, consequent poles method. If you explain for this, it is more than sufficient. If it is asked for pole changing method to control speed of three phase induction motor. And in the third case, that is pole amplitude modulation method, here we are going to just modulate the flux wave of the stator poles. Because of that, uh, we are going to modulate the amplitude of the flux wave of the stator poles. Because of that, we are going to control the speed of three phase induction motor. And whatever the formulas they are associated with this, these are the formulas. Okay, these are the formulas here, and using these formulas you can solve the numerical problem. Okay, you can see here, these are all the formulas. Okay, so based on all these formulas, here there is a problem related to the three phase induction motor using pole amplitude modulation method. So you can solve this problem. Okay, it's all about the problem here, numerical problem. After this, we will see how to control the speed of the three-phase induction motor using what is that, by adding the rheostats in stator circuit. So this is the last method to control the speed of induction motor, that too referring from the stator side. So that is by adding the rheostats in the stator circuit. So this is the stator of the three-phase induction motor, and this is the rotor, and each of the phase of the stator side, it is connected with rheostat, that too at the supply side. Okay, and now let us see the description for adding rheostats in stator circuit. Here we have seen that the reduced voltage can be applied to the stator by adding the rheostats in the stator circuit. So here we can by adding the rheostats in the stator circuit, it is going to cause voltage drop. Because of that, less voltage is, or the reduced voltage is available for the stator. If reduced voltage is available, then it is going to reduce the speed of the induction motor. Okay, this already we have seen. The arrangement is shown in figure 5.5.6. So this is the arrangement representing the figure 5.5.6 for stator resistance control. This is the circuit diagram for stator resistance control, where resistance is added in the stator side of the three-phase induction motor. The part of the voltage gets dropped across the resistances and reduced voltage gets applied across the stator. So here since resistances are connected at the supply side of the stator, because of that voltage gets reduced at the rheostat and less voltage is available for the stator. Okay, the reduction in the stator voltage causes reduction in the speed. We know that voltage is directly proportional to speed. If voltage is reduced to the stator, then automatically speed is also going to be decreased. The rheostats can be varied as per the required change in speed. So whatever the speed we want, accordingly we can change the rheostat, and for that particular voltage we are going to get proportional speed value. Okay, but the entire line current flows through the rheostat, and hence there are large power losses. So here you can see that these rheostats are observed to be on the supply line side. So all the line current, it is flowing through the rheostat. Because of that, huge power losses will take place, I squarer losses will take place. So power losses will be more here, and heating is also going to be take place here. Okay, it is going to take place. Okay, but the entire line current flows through the rheostats, and hence there are large power losses. The method is not efficient from speed control point of view. So here unnecessary power losses is going to take place. Because of that, this method is not economical when it is considered to be used for speed control. Okay, the method is not efficient from speed control point of view, hence used as starter rather than speed control of three-phase induction motor. So even though it is going to control the speed, but this method is not economical because of huge power losses at the rheostat at the stator side. Because of that, instead of using this method for speed controlling method, this can be used as a starter just to control the speed of the three-phase induction motor. So this method, it is going to be served best for as a starter rather than for speed controlling method. So this is all about speed controlling of three-phase induction motor referred at the stator side. So in this class we have discussed for three methods. So that is the first one is by supplying the reduced voltage. By supplying the reduced voltage, earlier this before to this is VYF control. This already have discussed in the previous class. VYF control I have discussed in the previous class, and in today's class I have discussed for supply voltage control method, controlling number of stator poles to the control synchronous speed NS, and adding rheostats in stator circuit. So if you see all these methods, here just we can control the speed of the induction motor just by changing the frequency, or by changing the voltage, or by adding the rheostats. So by adding the rheostats means what? We are going to change the voltage. So altogether, just by changing the frequency, or by changing the voltage, or by adding the rheostats, we can control the speed of induction motor. So out of the two methods, from the stator side and from the rotor side, here I have covered for speed controlling techniques referred to the stator side. That is, all these four methods I have controlled. I have explained till now, and in the next class we will discuss for speed control of the three-phase induction motor from the rotor side. From the rotor side, these are the methods, that is adding external resistance in the rotor circuit, cascade control, and injecting slip frequency voltage into the rotor circuit. And once again in this rotor side, I have explained even for the cascade control. And in the next class we will discuss for rotor side speed control, that too for only adding external resistance in the rotor circuit, as well as injecting slip frequency voltage into the rotor circuit. Okay, so this is all about today's class regarding speed control of three-phase induction motor from the stator side. Okay, have a good day.